Hey, Chris. So this next goal to focus on or problem you're having is if your goal is trying to be number one in Google, making sure your competitors don't outbid you. The problem is your competitors are outbidding you, and you don't want that to happen. So how do you handle that?
Yeah.
Before you answer that, Chris, where are you getting this as a problem? Like, do you hear this from business owners where they don't like seeing other people's ads all the time, number one, and then never up there? Kind of where does this come up?
Yeah. It's not quite as simple of competitors are outbidding you. It's that also the fact that they say, "Hey, I search for this and I never see my ad."
Mm,
So they're not only outbidding you, it's just you're not even there. So that's really the problem is, you know, they're not even showing up. So number one, again, I want to go as simple as possible. If you're having this problem, this is the problem. Find your most important keywords. Okay. So you're going to have, say, this is what I'm searching. I'm searching chiropractor near me. Let's go with chiropractors. And when I search that, I never show up, but these competitors always do. Okay. Find that keyword. All right. So if you're using automated bids, really your best option, and maybe you have some input on this, Jason. I mean, I'm not a big fan of automated bidding for making micro adjustments to an account because you don't really have that power. But the best thing I can think of, if you're using automated bids, at least pause the other keywords that are limiting the spend on your priority keywords. Basically, thin down your account and say, if you have $5 a day to spend or $50 a
mm.
day, eliminate those keywords that are spending 90% of that aren't your absolutely critical stuff. Start a little more bare bones and then build upon that. It's going to be the best way to do it. And then the great news is if you're using manual, bid up. Add more bids to those individual primary important terms that you want to show up for, and you'll start outbidding. You'll start showing up on these searches.
Yeah, Chris. And at the keyword level, if you pull up a column that is like absolute top impression, let's say absolute top percentage, and that's a position column, and then there's a column for search impression share loss due to ad rank. Both of those will kind of let you know where you're at and where you're either not showing up, number one, that often, and so there's room to increase your bids and show up higher in general, and number one more often. And then if you're missing out on a lot of impression share due to rank and that percentage is high and higher than you want it to be, raising your bids will help you get that percentage down and show up more often. If you're doing automated bids, Chris, you have a few options. You can increase your target CPA, cost per conversion goal, and allow the system to kind of bid more for you. If you're doing maximize clicks, you can raise your ceiling that you've given as a limit for your cost per click if you have one in there. And I think that's pretty much the extent of your control with the bids when it comes to those two bidding strategies.
Yeah.
I would say if you can go a little larger on your budget, sometimes that seems to help open things up a bit. And then manual, it's pretty clear, Chris. You can just look at where you're not showing up, number one, as much as you want. Look at where you're missing more due to ad rank than you want and increase those bids. And of course, I always am in the camp of not doing it gradually, just doing it, taking the Band-Aid off, because you can always come back down. So if you have a $10 bid and you can go to 15 or 18 or 20,
Yeah.
as opposed to $10.50, because you can always come back down somewhere between 20 and 10. And then finally, Chris, there's the Auction Insights report. And what I wanted to point out about this is just because you see a competitor above your ad all the time that you do a search, speaking to
Yeah.
anyone out there, they could be a fly on the wall. Like they could be only showing up on your market 10% of the time. And yeah, when they show up with their budget that's 10% the size of yours, they bid super aggressive because they don't know what they're doing and they blow their budget. And the times you see them, they look very aggressive. But in reality, in what counts, the money they're spending, they're not that aggressive. And so that can lead to you, if you don't know what you're kind of looking at and how aggressive in terms of spend your competitors actually are, it can cause you to make bad decisions and overbid and try to overtake someone who's only actually there 10% of the time.
Mhm.
So you want to pay attention to kind of those market share numbers in that auction insights report.